So welcome, my dear students. Welcome, my dear students. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, my dear students. Today, we will talk about the sampling. Today, we are going to talk about the sampling and what do we mean by the word sampling. Sampling is something we use to take from the whole society or the whole population. We take units that will be like to represent the whole population. The word population means what you are doing or what's your target or what you put your hand on. So if we, as example now, take a sample of the perfumes and just take, like when you go to a shop, they give you a small bottle like this as a present, or they say this is a sample. Sample represent the population. And the more the sample is, the more the characteristics that in the sample should represent the characteristics of the population. So here we go into distinguishing between sample and population, and this is the first topic today. We'll go here right now. Observation unit is an object of which measurements is taken. This is the basic unit of observation. Sometimes we call it element, this word. So observation, we call it elements. In studying human population, observation units are often individuals. So if it comes to humans, so that unit will be people, individuals. That's if it is units, it's people. Target population, the complete collection of observation we want to study. Defining the target, so the population is what we are studying. So if we are seeing patients or sick people in hospitals, then the population are the sick people, are the people of the hospitals or the people in charge in the hospitals who enter the hospitals. Now, defining the target population is an important to often difficult part of the study. For example, in a political poll, should the target population be all the adults eligible to vote? This is the target population. Are they anyone is adult and able to vote? All registered voters or all persons who voted in the last election? The choice target population will profoundly affect the statistics of the results because this will affect the results. So here the population, that's what I want you to know today. We have the population means all the community which we are studying, or the units of the population means the whole units which we are studying. The term population means all members. Look at this now, the term population. So I will say, I will put population here in red, means all members that meet a set of specifications or a specified criterion. Here we go. So this is the population. For example, the population of the United States is defined as the people residing in the United States. If we say population, so here as example about the United States, then these are the people who resides in the United States, residing in the United States. So this is the meaning of population. Okay. A single member of any population is referred to as element. Here we go. Here we go. So a single I will just put line, underline it. A single member of any given population is referred to as an element. When only some elements are selected from a population, when we select some elements from this population, we refer to that as a sample. Here is the relationship. Here is the relationship between the population and the element and the sample. Okay. The population is all what I'm studying. One of it is called elements. Many elements, when I add many elements together, they are sample. Again, I would say the whole society is a population. One of these society, we call it element, one of it. When I choose many elements together, that's we call it sample. When all elements are included, we all call census. Then when we take all the elements, that's we call it census. So population is referred to as an element. Population is referred to as an element. okay? When only some elements are selected from the population, again, a single member of any given population, single member, we call it element one. So as example, if your population are the sick people, then one patient is an element. But when you choose more than one patient, we call this sample. Okay, when all elements are included, this we call it census. So this is what leads me to put the first question here. In the sampling today, we will put the first question. In sampling, so give me 1 minute, please. Right now, we'll put it here. Okay, no worries about this. I'll open another page, open another new. What is the sampling? So define just the relationship between them, the element population element, the population, and the sample and census. So this is the first question today. One, define elements, the elements, population, sample, and census. This is our first question today. Define elements, population, sample, and census. This is our first question today here. Now let's see here, what do we mean by these words? The accuracy of which the sample is representing. The accuracy of our estimates depends on the extent to which sample is representative of the population to which we generalize. So accuracy means how far the sample represent the population, how far the sample represent the population. That is the point here. Data derived from a sample are treated statistically. Using sample data, we calculate various statistics such as the mean and the standard deviation. So we usually try to find out the gap between the sample and the population, because the more the sample is, the precise the results will get from the population. By other meaning, the more the sample is increasing, that means that the characteristics of the sample will represent the characteristics of the population. These sample statistics describes aspects of the sample data. These data, when treated with ordered statistical procedures, allow us to make certain interference, like which from the sample statistics, we make corresponding estimates to the population. So that's why we care about the sample accuracy, because once we get results from the sample, we can say that these results can be applied in the whole population, because I took the sample from the population. So I will say that the characteristics of the sample represent the characteristics of the whole population. The first kind of sampling, for that reason, we care so much about the sampling, because the characteristics of the sample must represent the characteristics of the whole population, and that's what we are looking for, a similarity between the population and the sample. The first type of sampling, we call it simple random sampling. So the first question today we had is about this, about defining elements, what's the meaning of element, what the meaning of population, what the meaning of sample, and what the meaning of census. That was our first question today. Our second question today, we are going now to take about the sample. The first one, kind of simple random sampling. Random means give a chance for all the units of the sample to be represented or to represent the population or to represent itself when we choose it. Researchers use two major sampling techniques, probability sampling and no probability sampling. So we use usually probability sampling when we work on non-probability sampling. Non-probability sampling, non-probability one. Okay, the non-probability sampling also. Types of probability sampling, we say the term simple random sample, stratified sample, and cluster sample. Those are the probability sampling. So the probability sampling include those types, my dears. Simple random sample, this is the first one. Stratified sample, this is the next one. And cluster sample, and this is the third one. Those are the probability samples. So please don't forget it. The probability samples include the simple random, stratified, and cluster. Let's go first to the simple random sample. Simple random sample of size n taken when every possible subset of n units in the population had the same chances of being a sample. So this depends on the probability distribution, and it gives equal chances for all the units of samples to represent the whole population. Okay? Probability sampling, a researcher can specify the probability of an element's participants being included in the sample. So this depends on the probability, and in the same time, probability, and the same time, all the units had the same chance to represent the population. No probability sampling, this is another type. We said we have probability and non-probability sampling. There is no way of estimating the probability of an element being included in a sample. If the researcher's interests in generalizing the finding derived from the sample to the general population, then probability sampling is far more useful and precise. So what I want to say here, that the probability sampling is more precise than the non-probability sampling. So it's more precise, more acute. Unfortunately, it's also much more difficult and expensive than the non-probability, because the probability one is more expensive and more difficult to, so it's more difficult and expensive as well. So it's more difficult and expensive as well than no probability sampling. So it's more, okay. Sometimes we say about the probability sampling another name, which means random sampling. Random means it's giving the chances for all the units to represent in the whole units have the same chance to represent the population. Random sampling or representative sampling, the word random describes the procedures used to select the elements. As example, participants, scores, tests from the population. Okay. When a random sampling, here we go. When random sampling is used, each element in the population has, look at this, that's what I want, has an equal chance of being selected. So we select, the selection of the samples will give almost the same selection. Simple random sampling or unknown probability of being selected, stratified random sampling. The sample is referred to as a representative because the characteristics of the properly drawn sample represent the parent's population in any way. So we know now we have probability and non-probability sampling. We know that the one which is accurate is the probability sampling. Why? Because it gives the same chance or equal chances for all the sampling units to be chosen. It gives the equal chances for the whole sampling units to be chosen. That's why we call it random sampling. Okay. Now, let us go to how we can draw the sample. Define the population before a sample is taken. The procedures of sampling. These are the sampling procedures. Sampling procedures or protocol. What we will do then? What we will do for the sampling? Sampling procedures. The first step is defining the population before sample is taken. Before I take the sample, I have to define the population. Okay, guys? So here, sampling procedures. So first thing is that I define the population. Second, construct a list before a sample can be chosen randomly. Then from the population, do a list. And do a list from the sample can be chosen randomly. You cannot sometimes do a population list because the population is very big. So you have to do a list for the sample. It is necessary to have to complete a list of the population from which to select the population list from which you intend to select the sample. If the population is small, like around 30, 40, 100, 200, then prepare a list with the population. So second step, like here I will do it, is just highlight it in red. Construct list before sample can be chosen. Third step, some lists are available for a variety of different sources. Professional organizations such as the American Psychological Association can give me in some cases on sampling procedures simply are not possible. This is the case for very large population. That's what I'm saying. In large population, you cannot prepare a list of all the units of population. In the large population, you cannot prepare a list. So what you do in this case, you have to go to the random sampling directly because random sampling requires a listing of all members of population. The larger the population, the more difficult it becomes. Yes, that's why. It's very difficult if your population is very big. As an example, you are studying one of the natures of the characteristics of the buyers in Brampton. So you cannot write a list with all the people of Brampton and say this is the population, the whole people or the whole elements, collect of all the elements there. No, you cannot do this because it's very impossible to see how much are there, like the populations, how much, or if you miss some units or elements, this is another point. So usually it's very difficult to exactly write down or register or make a list with the population, because when the population is very large. Third step in the process of sampling, drawing the sample. So you'll draw the sample here. After a list of population members has been constructed, various random sampling options are available. So here now, we will start the sampling. Some common ones include tossing dice, flipping coins, spinning wheels, drawing name out of rotating dump, exactly like the lottery. Because you give in the lottery all the chances, all the units have the same chances to represent the sample. To be selected also using a table of random numbers and using computer programs, except for the last two methods. Most of the techniques are slow and cumbersome. Table of random numbers are easy to use also. You can use table of random numbers as well. So this is one chance. You can do it like the lottery. You can use the computers and truly random. Here is a website that provides a random number table. So you can see also the random number table, and you can use it as well to generate random numbers. So the table generate random numbers. Okay. This is the third step in our own work in the regarding how to select your own sample out of the population, how to get your own sample out of the population. This is an example. If there was 1,000 people in the population, you would number them from 0 to 999. and then enter the table of the random numbers. So let us assume your sample size will be 100. Starting anywhere in the table, move in any direction you choose, preferably up and down. Since there are 1,000 people on your list from 0 to 999, you must give them equal chance of being selected. To do this, you use 3 columns of digits from the tables. If the first 3-digit numbers in the table are 218, the first 3 digits in the table 218, participant numbers 218, participant numbers 218 on the population list is chosen for the sample. Okay, if the next 3 digits of the number 007, the participant assigned number 007 or 7 is selected. Continue until you have selected 100 participants of the sample. If the same numbers comes up more than once, it is simply discarded. We have also another methods we will handle in the next video about the sampling. In the next video, we will handle it. Thank you so much.